Hello and welcome to Zazumi. I'm Sherry Barbera, and today we are going to be talking about 3 tips. I just did 6. 3 tips to consistently look good on video. And I am going to, well, first, I think I would just like to say thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here. And I'm going to pop over to Sal. So you can see both Sal and I are here for you today. Hello. And okay, let's get into it. So 3 tips to film yourself to consistently look good on camera. And I will be posting a free checklist for this in the comments below after, not tonight, but after the video's over. I'm Sherry Barbera, and for those of you that are new, thank you for being here. I'm a Google certified YouTube channel growth expert, and that was a difficult thing to accomplish. This is Zazumi, and we are the Business YouTubers channel, and we are your online YouTube bootcamp to boost your income, influence, and impact with YouTube. Hey Kim, welcome, great to see you. Thanks for coming. We love seeing your pretty face here. If you haven't joined our new Facebook group, please join our new Facebook group. It's called Business YouTubers Network. And this is where you can post anything about your channel. If you would like people to connect with you, or if you have some questions you want to know about YouTube, ask them there. That is the place. So we're going to get right into it. 3 tips to film yourself, to look good consistently. Not like a robot, because nobody wants to look like a robot. Hello, Shamika, welcome, great to see you. The 3 tips I'm going to give you today are, number 1, equipment checklist. Number 2, location. And the funny thing about location is that I really thought that I could I actually started out with 8 tips. I actually started out with 10 tips, and then I went down to 8 tips. And then when I started working on these slides for you, I realized that location is so enormous that it ended up taking up, I don't know, something like 45 slides. You know, it's crazy. So that's how I ended up with 3 tips for you guys. But they're such valuable tips. And the checklist will have 8 tips in it. So if you want to see that, be sure you come back to the video and click the link to get the checklist. Hi, Dale, welcome. Wonderful to see you. Thanks for being here. Okay, so something weird just happened. That is really, really weird. Okay. Oh, there's Kim. And there's Shamika, and there's Dale. So welcome all of you. Thank you for being here. I love that you're here.
Cool.
And the last thing that we are going to be covering is framing. So I'm sure you're going to be excited about seeing that, because that's going to be a really, really interesting. Tip number 1, your equipment checklist. This is something so important for you to do, no matter whether you are filming inside or outside, whether you're filming at home or at an office location or wherever you are. You want to be sure that everything's going to look good and work. So for your mobile phone, if you're using a mobile phone, you want to make sure that your battery is charged and you have extra batteries just in case you film for a long time and your battery drops dead. So bring extra batteries, bring a charger, charge your battery prior to your videos, and think about all this kind of stuff. Clear off your storage, because think about it. You probably have thousands of photographs. You might have dozens of videos on your phone already. They're probably short, but they still take up a lot of space. And when you are filming videos, especially for YouTube, you probably will end up doing more than 1 take, maybe a few takes. This uses up quite a bit of storage. Even if you're at 1080p, which is 1080 pixels, it still takes up a lot of space. It's still going to be like hundreds of meg if you're doing even a 5-minute video. If you're using 4K, it's insane how much space it takes up. So be sure that you've cleared your storage. The other thing you want to do is clean your lens. Just such a simple thing to think about, but how often do you do it actually? Probably not very often. So think about how many times you put your phone down, or you put your phone in a pocket, or you put your phone in a purse, or just holding it with your hands that you might touch the lens. So clean your lens before you film. And finally, put a Post-it. I know we covered this last week, but I am just going to pop this down and move this up. I know we covered this last week.
A piece of a Post-it.
But remember what I said, take a Post-it and put a piece of that right by your camera lens on your phone. And even if it's a tablet, do the same thing. Because how are you going to know where it is? There it is, that little tiny thing. So when you're filming yourself, oh look, that's funny, I'm in the picture. When you're filming yourself, this is how you know where to look. You don't want to look at yourself. Now this is me just looking at myself. Instead of looking at you, you don't want to do that. Okay, let's go back to the slides. If you're outside, then there are certain things that you can do to enhance the way you look. And you don't have to just put up with whatever light there is outside. You can add light by bringing LED lights that are battery operated with you outside. You can bounce light off of a white piece of foam board or a reflector so that it lights you up and illuminates you evenly and makes you look great, even if the lighting outside isn't perfect. Because how often is anything perfect, right? It's fleeting. So you want to control as much as you possibly can. So foam board or a reflector works great. There are wonderful reflectors by Neewer, and you guys know I love Neewer. We use a lot of Neewer products. And they come with a tripod, and look at all of the different reflectors that you can get. You can get white, you can get silver, you can get gold. So gold will make you look softer and give you a warm glow. Why would you use a black reflector? Well, what if the light is too bright? Like let's say the only time that you can film is midday when the light is super bright and really harsh. You can tone it down with a black reflector, and it actually absorbs light away from you and deflects light away from you. So there are so many ways that you can work with whatever is thrown at you outside to help you control how you look on the camera. What about an umbrella? A lot of photographers use photo umbrellas with a light to control the way that their subject looks. And the way that you do that is you turn the umbrella away from you and you put the light facing into the umbrella, and that diffuses it just the same exact way that a box light works. It works like a diffuser. So the light comes out at you and gives you this beautiful, overall, even but soft light. Because you don't want harsh light on you. That's what's going to create a lot of shadows, and you don't want shadows. So you can see in this picture that without light, why bother filming, right? Because you can't even see her. But with light, and especially diffused light that's very soft, but illuminates her beautifully, you can really see what she looks like in the video. Tip number 2. This is the biggie. Location. So there are 3 things about location. So I'm giving you 3 tips, and now within the 3 tips in tip number 2, there are 3 tips that you need to think about when you're on location. Light, sound, and your background. And they're super important. If you have any questions about this, be sure to put them in the chat. Are you on location indoors or are you on location outside? And that is going to make a difference with your light. If you're outside, there are 2 times of the day that are ideal for filming. The first one is soft, glowy morning light. It just makes everything look really good. And you can see that if you're out there in the soft morning light everything around you and you are going to look really good. This is what it looks like with soft morning light. See all the different ways that you can film yourself, how evenly? The other beautiful light is end of day light. It's very cinematic, and it's just a gorgeous way for you to get a video that looks really, really beautiful, looks a little bit more like a movie. And I recommend trying this out, trying out outdoor morning light, trying out late afternoon slash early evening light, because you're going to get different things from both of them.
Sheila had a comment.
So, hi Sheila. So Sheila says, pay attention to music playing in the background. Absolutely. And that is one of my tips, Sheila. So you are right on the ball, of course, always. Thank you for that. So this is what you would look like in your beautiful cinematic end of daylight. The other thing that's nice about end of daylight is that it's also really soft. And we're coming up to the holidays, and though these will be different holidays, still there are probably going to be lights everywhere because everyone's going to want to celebrate this year in a big way. So this is a perfect time for you to film outdoors and let the magic of the lights around you make you look even more amazing. So do we have, okay, good. The other really excellent time to film outside is on a cloudy day. And this isn't something that you can control. So when there's a cloudy day and you want to film outside, it's a good idea to run out there and film because everything looks really good on a cloudy day. It just, everything pops. It just looks so much different. And last week on our last Zazumi video, Dale mentioned how great it is to film on a cloudy day. So thank you for that, Dale. Another beautiful place to film yourself is in shade because shade gives you more of an even tone and an even lighting and an even look. So if you're out and about and you are hiking, this is a great time to film yourself when you hit some shade so you don't get, you know, maybe dappled sunlight on you. You get a nice even look on your face. The time not to film is midday because midday, when the sun is directly over you, is going to give you the harshest light. It's going to give you the strongest shadows. It's also going to create silhouettes. And unless that's something that you want, and I don't know what your videos are about, avoid midday light. Now, if you have to film at midday because that's the only time of the day that you can get outside and film, then think about controlling the light. Think about trying to find shade. Think about using reflectors. Think about using the black reflector, the one that absorbs light. So there's lots of things that you can still do to control the situation. But if you don't have to film outside, don't film at midday. And if you don't have to film outside, don't, because indoors you can control your light better. So let's just recap. When you're outside, the most flattering time to film yourself is either early morning or late afternoon light, or a cloudy day, or in the shade. What is not flattering? Midday light is not flattering. Straight overhead light is not flattering. Harsh shadows are not flattering. So you want to try to avoid all of that as much as possible because you're in control. So you want to stay in control of this. Now, what about sound? Sound is huge because when you're filming, you're not necessarily thinking about everything that's happening around you. You're thinking about what you're saying. You're thinking about the people behind the lens. You're thinking about lots of things, not about what's happening around you. So you want to control the sound as much as you possibly can because you don't know what all of a sudden is going to disrupt your video and create people's annoying, click-aways. You don't want people to click away from something that's happening behind you. So listen for the sounds. For example, If you're outside, there could be barking dogs. So what do? Pause. Just pause or shut your video off and start again, because now you're in control of what happens. You hear the dogs barking, you shut it off, you go back to where the barking dog started and reshoot that part when there's no sound. Okay, so let me just say, I'm just gonna go to, oh, that got really small. I'm just gonna go to Sal and me. So let me just say that if you can film yourself inside, I highly recommend that instead of being outside, you film yourself inside, because now you're in control of your environment. You're in control, more in control of your sounds. You're more in control of the things that are happening around you as opposed to being outside. Like that. So if you're outside, like let's say that you do hiking videos like Dale does, or you're outside like Trekking Pals, or that you're a travel vlogger. So you have to be outside. Well, these are the things that you want to be really aware of. These are the things that you want to try to control as much as you possibly can. And with editing, you can just take the good bits and put them all together. That's what's fantastic about editing. So don't think that you have to keep filming just because, oh my gosh, you're filming. No, you don't. You can just stop it until the sounds are what you want and start
Should
filming.
you carry one of those big water pistols, like those things that shoot like big things of water, just to like get everything out of the way? That's like
Sure.
making noise.
Sure. And especially in the summer, then you can shoot yourself. That would be fun. I think I would do that. Okay, let's go back. Thanks for that, honey. Let's go back to
My pleasure.
our slides here. So even birds, and I love the sound of singing birds, but even birds can sometimes get really, really loud when you're trying to shoot a video. So be aware of that kind of sound. Or what if you're outside and you're in a park, or you're by a street, or you're near a school, or you're outside of an office building? Lots of people can come out all of a sudden and start making a lot of noise. So you want to be aware, especially if they're playing music. And as Sheila said, thank you for that, Sheila. And as Sheila said, music is so important because you don't want a copyright strike against you. And that's the reason why you really, really super need to be aware of music. If there's music playing behind you, you either need to completely stop or pull the sound completely down in editing and voiceover so that you don't have somebody else's music playing in the background. That's a copyrighted music. What about airplanes and trucks and cars and trains, motorcycles, any kind of vehicle that makes a lot of noise? There's all of the transportation sounds that you need to be aware of, because sometimes we get used to sounds and we stop hearing them. And that's when you have problems. You have to always be aware of what's happening around you so that you're constantly filming what sounds good. What else? Wind. Wind is something when you're outside that will create a real problem for your microphone, especially if the wind is going into your microphone, because it sounds terrible. So you want to be sure that if there's wind, you have one of those covers for your microphone that are called a dead cat. And that covers up those kinds of sounds so that you can still sound good. And music. So if you are at a concert and you want to film yourself and say that you're at the concert and you're all excited, well, film in between sets. Don't film while they're playing, because that's copyrighted music. So it's okay to film. It's just not okay to film when the music's playing, or you're going to have to pull that sound down in editing and voiceover, which you don't want to do, right? So think about all this kind of stuff. What about your background outside? It's really important what your background looks like. If you're using a DSLR camera, then you can do depth of field and you can be very much in focus and make your background out of focus. But if you're just using your phone and you haven't downloaded an app that changes your phone into like a DSLR camera, which there are apps like that, and we'll go over them in next month's meetings, videos. If you don't have an app like that, then you want to try to keep your background as clean and simple as possible so it's not distracting. The other thing you want to do is, what is the look of your videos? What are your videos about? So I'm going to pop over to us, honey. So when you're filming videos, like we film videos that have to do with business. And as you can see behind Sal, or maybe you can't see so well, but we have a set for when we're doing our Zazumi review videos that have to do with reviewing topics, titles, thumbnails, and trailers on other people's videos so that you can learn what works and what doesn't work. That's really good for YouTube. So we have a set that we have.
Watch.
Here's our set. And that's where we sit and we film our videos for our reviews. But when I'm filming for my courses, I don't use the set. I use my computer, I use my business chair, I use my Yeti or my lavalier mic and a ring light. And I'm set up completely differently. So if you're able to create a little mini studio in your home or in your office that you can leave set up, this is ideal, so that you always consistently look the same. That's ideal. So let's go back to it. If you can find just a wall, just a simple blank wall, this is a great place to film outside because it's very simple and neutral and not distracting. If you can find a very interesting building and you sort of shoot up a little bit so that you get the sky and you get the building, that's not distracting, and that can be really beautiful as well. Think about the different ways that you can film outside and keep it simple and clean. But what if you actually want it to be busy? What if you really want a dynamic background behind you, like New York City or like Paris, depending upon where you are? Well, great. If that's part of the video, do it, right? So you just need to know, what is your video about? Why are you filming where you're filming? And stay on point and on look when you're filming your videos. Indoor locations. Now you're dealing with both natural light and artificial light. You don't have to deal with natural light at all if you don't want to inside. But look at how beautifully evenly lit this indoor studio is. And this is something that you can control for a certain amount of time if you're using natural light, if you're using window light. You just need to know the time of day that is going to look the most beautiful in your studio. And it might only be for an hour. And if it's for 1 hour a day, then you want to film that hour of day. So that kind of makes it really easy to schedule your videos, because you know you want the natural light coming on you and you know when you're going to be filming. But what about using also artificial light with your natural light? Then you need to look at, how is the natural light affecting, which is warmer, the indoor light, which is typically bluer. And so you want to know that that mix of light is working on you. So you need to look at every single bit of this and decide, what do you really want for your videos? Now, if you're filming only with artificial light, then what we went over last week applies perfectly to this. You want to have either 2-point lighting, 3-point lighting, or 5-point lighting. So 2-point lighting is when you have a ring light directly in front of you and it's illuminating you completely. And then your second light is a backlight to light up your hair. It's called a hair light. And that separates you from your background. If you do 3-point lighting, then you want to have 2 cameras. I'm just going to pop over to myself. You want to have 2 light sources coming at you at 45-degree angles, your camera directly in front of you, and still a light behind you, a hair light behind you, and that's 3-point. If you're doing 5-point, same exact thing, 45 degrees coming at you from both sides, your key light, your fill light. Here's your camera, you have your backlight and your hair light, and then you have 2 lights on your background. And those you can create all different kinds of colors with, or you can just set a different mood with, or you can make them lower so that you pop more, or you can make them brighter so that you're a little bit darker in front. You can do whatever you want. Okay. If you use a ring light, you can see how easy it is to set up a ring light either on your computer, on your laptop, right on your phone. There are ring lights that go right on your phone. You can put a ring light on a tripod. You can put a ring light with a tablet. You can put a ring light with a DSLR camera. They are very, very versatile. And that's one of the reasons why ring lights are great. But the other is because of how beautifully, evenly they illuminate you, giving you consistent lighting. And this is what you want. The main thing you want to do is just set the light, because there's a knob to turn to set the brightness or the lower level of the light. Once you get it set, leave it on and then just unplug it from the wall, or use a 6 outlet that has a switch, an on and off switch, and use the on and off switch. Because once you have your light set, you don't want to have to keep readjusting the light, right? You get it right. So if, though, you do need to readjust the light for some reason, what I strongly recommend is just taking either a silver permanent marker or a gold permanent marker or nail polish and just putting a tiny little mark underneath right on your light knob, exactly where you have it facing, where it works perfectly for you. Let's keep going. So I have appropriated from Adrian Salisbury. And Adrian Salisbury, if you don't know him, I know Adrian Salisbury because I use Ecamm. And that's what I'm using right now to do this meeting for you, do this video. And Ecamm is so cool because it allows me to do this wonderful picture-in-picture. It allows me to pull my slides in. It lets me show Sal and me together at the same time. I can even pull a video in. It just does so many things. It's really fantastic. But I had no idea how to use it. And Ecamm has these wonderful authoritative people like Adrian Salisbury who do videos about how to use this. And I was watching one of Adrian's videos on using Ecamm, and in it he had these people who are students of his because he's a photographer, he's a videographer, and he shows you how to light yourself beautifully. So I am going to show you, his students. So this is one of his students, and that's her before, and then look at how amazing the difference is between setting up the right background, lighting yourself correctly, centering yourself correctly, illuminating yourself evenly. It just is extraordinary how different the same exact person can look. Remember what I said about where the camera should be. Your camera should be slightly above eye level, slightly above eye level. And if it can't be, then it should be at your eye level so that you're looking directly at the viewer. But if it's not, look at how this looks. So the spacing is terrible. The background is terrible. It's so messy. It's awkward with him being cut off at the chin. Everything about it is just really uncomfortable. And look at the change. Look at the change. When you set yourself up correctly, when you light yourself up evenly, when you have a beautiful background, and notice how in the background he has 2 objects, though they're not on the same level, he has split himself into thirds, beautiful thirds in his framing. So think about all these kinds of things. Here's another one, a very simple background. Okay, the background is simple, but look at the lighting. We barely can even see her. And look at this extraordinary change. You almost don't even know it's the same person, right? It's so good. That's how good it is. So when you change your background up, when you make your lighting good, when you illuminate yourself and you set yourself up in your frame to look good, you look good. So these are the things that you want to think about. Another one. He just isn't lit very well, and his background is kind of strange. And you want to think about, what do I have behind me? What do I have next to me? What do I have near me? Is it working? Is it enhancing, or is it distracting? And those are the things that you need to take a real outsider's eye when you're looking at your own setup and say ruthlessly, yes, this is good. No, this stinks. What can I change, or how can I make it better? Because you can always make it better. So look at how much better he looks. It's amazing. It's extraordinary how it almost looks like a completely different person. Another one, look at this dark, dark background. It is not enhancing her in any way. And look at that. So just by illuminating her, changing the color of the clothing that she's wearing, putting herself in a space where there's light behind her, completely changed how she looked. Let's talk about sound. Of course, you want to control as much as you possibly can. If you're inside and there's people outside and they're making lots of noise, what can you do? These are the kinds of things that you need to listen for. So again, barking dogs, air conditioners, washing machines, dishwashers, vacuum cleaners. There are so many things that make noise, and you want to try to control as much as you possibly can. And if there are other people that live in the same environment that you do, you need to be aware of what they're doing, just like they need to be aware of when you're filming. So these are all the things that you need to think about when you're filming your videos, especially if you're inside. What about people talking in the next room, or a ceiling fan clicking, or the television being on? You might not have realized that you left the TV on and it's making all this noise. Even your computer might be humming, or an external hard drive might be making noise. So all of these things are something you want to think about and control as much as you possibly can. What about your background when you're inside? Same thing. Just keep it simple, keep it clean, make sure it's not distracting, and that it follows however you want to appear in your videos. So, oh, that was weird. Clean, simple, neutral colors are really nice if you yourself are going to wear bright colors like red or bright blue or pink or fuchsia or yellow or orange. Then you're really going to pop inside a nice neutral environment. Think about how you can place things behind you that are very organized and neat looking, and also say something about your personality, because this gives you the opportunity to show your personality, to show things about your business, to express who you are. And it's a great way to do that in your own studio. Last week I talked to you about Hello Bombshell. She has a fantastic, very simple setup. And if you look at what her setup looks like from the outside looking in, it's very simple. She's by a window. She's got a nice simple desk. She put her laptop on a stand. She's got a ring light that illuminates her. She's got another small ring light on her desk that illuminates her background. And her camera is facing right at her. This is what it looks like. Whoops. This is what it, hi honey. This is what it looks like. Sal's right behind me. Actually, he's right next to me. When she is filming herself, and look at how beautiful she looks, how beautifully illuminated she is. Look at how lovely the background is, how simple, how neat, how it enhances everything about her. So her look has a lot of pink in it. So what did she do? She brought in beautiful pastel colors because she wants everything to be lovely and soft. And what that does is it makes her face pop and it makes her beautiful smile jump out at you. And these are the kinds of things that you want to think about when you're filming yourself and setting yourself up, is how can you make yourself look the best for you? What are your best colors? What is the best background? What are the best things that you can do? Okay, tip number 3. Do we have any questions about any of this so far? Please put them in the chat because I haven't been able to pull anyone's, I haven't been able to pull anyone's chat over, and I love to do that. I love to pull you guys right into the picture, so please do that. Framing. Okay, framing is huge. And I'm just going to pop over to Sal and me for a second. And can you see how I am not I'm directly in the center of my frame, right? So if you look at how Sal is set up as opposed to how I am set up, he is at an angle. So everything is coming in to him, which does look really, really good. It's just another different way of angling yourself and showing a background, the same exact background, right? But a different way of looking at it. So I am set up literally like split in half, where half is on this side and half is on that side, and I'm dead center. Whereas Sal has a beautiful like 3-piece setup there that makes you look a lot better coming in.
I'm an angler.
Hey, look who's here. Our friend's trekking pal. Hello, 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 guys. Great to see you. Thanks for coming. I love it when you're here. So let's pop back to the slides and talk about framing. Rule of thirds. If you're not familiar with the rule of thirds is super simple. It's just splitting your screen into 3s. And when you split with 2 lines on either side of you, all of a sudden your screen is split into 3s. And you can do this vertically and horizontally. And what happens is you end up with these wonderful dynamic points, these connecting points where you actually look better when you put yourself in a point. So this is rule of thirds, and you can see how she has beautifully split her screen into 3s. She's dead center and everything else is left and right to her. This is what it looks like if it were split vertically and horizontally. And you can see, see where her arm is and how it kind of draws your eye right to that place. You can see where her beautiful smile is. You're kind of drawn in, right to that space. This is what rule of thirds can do for you. It can really make you look better. And most cell phones, most mobile phones have a grid on them. You just have to look for it. You have to go into your camera settings and look for the grid and turn it on. And it really helps you frame yourself when you're filming. It will really help you make yourself look better. What else? So more rule of thirds. You can see how it works. This is all rule of thirds. Look at how the dynamic points are right at the points on her face. So you focus in, you focus in. So what is my checklist for rule of thirds? Well, you want to frame your subject along the grid lines. Use your phone's grid settings. Look for that in your camera settings and you'll find it. Don't cut off the top of your head. Look, I'm going to cut off the top of my head. Look at how that looks. I mean, it really looks ridiculous, doesn't it? I'm cutting out, or even worse, look at this. So, oh, I can't do that. So if you cut yourself off here, like if you're just too low and you cut yourself off here, it's so difficult for the viewer to look at that. It makes you like want to pull that person's face up. You just don't want to do things that make your viewer uncomfortable. And this is why the rule of thirds will help you. It helps you frame yourself and frame other people and other subjects. If you're filming pets, you know, you still want to frame them. You still want them to look great. So no matter what you're filming, you want to use the rule of thirds to make it look better. Intersecting lines have the greatest impact. So if you are like right here on an intersecting line, it's just going to look better. So think about it, use grids. Filming tips. Look at your viewer, not at yourself, right? Look at your viewer, not at yourself, because it looks ridiculous when you're looking at yourself and it's so annoying to your viewer. Plus, I'm not here to look at myself. I'm here to look at you. And you, as the videographer, the person making videos, you are there to look at your viewer. So look at your camera. Put a post-it on it, right? Put a post-it on it where your lens is so that you're sure to look in the right place. Then position, if you can, position the camera lens 1/8 of an inch above your eye line. If you position it 1/8 of an inch above your eye line, this is a newscaster trick. I'm giving you a newscaster trick. If you position it 1/8 of an inch above your eye line, what happens is you slightly look up. When you slightly look up, your whole face goes up and everything looks better. And I did not come up with this. This is a newscaster trick. So try to use the 1/8 of an inch above your eye line so that you look better on camera. Put a post-it by the lens and talk to the camera like you're talking to a friend. Because why wouldn't you? You're not a robot, right? You're not a robot. And you don't want to look like a robot. You don't want to sit there and just talk like this, because that is not entertaining. That is not engaging. And that is not going to make your viewer want to come back and show up again. So talk like you're talking to a friend, because you are a friend. You are here showing up, excited and interested in what you're going to learn, because you're a friend, and I appreciate you and thank you for being here. So let's recap. What equipment checklist do you need to do? Well, you need to check everything for your mobile phone. You want to be sure that you have your battery charged, you have extra batteries, maybe you have your charger with you. You want to make sure that you have cleared off the storage on your phone. Clear the storage off on your phone. And if you have an iPhone and you trash stuff, don't forget that you have to go back into your photo settings, into albums. And there's an album that now you have to go in for trash and delete the trash, because it's still there. It's still there and it's still using up your hard drive on your phone. So don't just think that because you trash something that it's gone. Make sure it's really, really gone. And what else do you want to do for mobile phones? Well, you want to clean your lens. Make sure you clean your lens. And let's see, I think those were the main points to cover. What about when you're outside? Well, think about, how are you going to film yourself outside? Do you need extra lights? Do you need battery operated lights? Do you need to bring with foam board to bounce stuff off of, or reflectors, or an umbrella? What can you do to help you control the lighting outside? Location, location, location. It's so important. Are you inside? Are you outside? What is your light like? What is your sound like? What does your background look like? Remember, if you're outside, early morning, late afternoon, early evening are the best times to film. And if you can't, shady areas or cloudy days work really, really well. And if you can't, then you need to start to figure out how to control your setting, how to make it work for you, because you can make it work, but just try to avoid the things that are going to make it harder for you. And then framing, rule of thirds. Try to use a grid. Don't cut off the top of your head. Don't cut off your chin, right? Don't do any of these things that make the viewer horribly uncomfortable, because they're going to click away if you do that. So upcoming videos because, I actually started with 10 tips. Then I went down to 8 tips. And then when I was doing my slides, oh my gosh, guys, there was so much information for you that I actually had to bring it down to just 3 tips. So upcoming videos, I am going to do more about how to look good consistently. I'm going to work on angles, appearance, engaging, pacing, testing, and practice. These are all things that you really need to know and understand and use and utilize if you want to film yourself to look consistently good. And of course you do. As I say, be you, because you are uniquely you and no one else looks like you and no one else talks like you and no one else thinks like you. So don't ever worry if there are so many other people in your category or even in the niche that you choose. It doesn't matter. Believe in yourself, just be you, and you're going to do great and your videos will be awesome. So use everything that I just told you. If you're a newbie and you are not familiar with YouTube, take my YouTube masterclass. I have spent years learning about YouTube, learning so many things about YouTube, learning so many things about filming, marketing, social media, how to make money on this, all of these things. And they're in the masterclass. And you can do it over a period of 6 weeks, but I actually had a student binge watch the entire 6 modules in a weekend. So it's really up to you how long it takes you to do it, but I highly recommend that you take the masterclass if you don't really know YouTube yet and you want to use it for your business. Next week, I am going to be talking about editing, scheduling, and posting your videos. And there's so much involved in editing, scheduling, and posting that the entire month of October is all devoted to that, because I'm going to be covering apps and I'm going to be covering what kind of editing software you want to use, and I'm going to be covering scheduling and how you do that on YouTube and how you post your videos and you do that the most successfully, and what do you do about schedule. There's so much, right? There's so much to learn. There's always so much to learn. So if you like this video, give it a like, because I love those likes. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We love that you are subscribers. And I'm going to just pop back over to Sal and myself, and my mom is going to be joining us in 1 second, and we are going to say goodbye to everyone. So let me just put the camera on all of us.
All of us.
All of us. Here we go. Okay. So all of us, honey, you're going to have to come over here.
Here, Iris, you should put these on. There you go.
Okay, here we go, guys. So we're doing our dating game goodbye. Just going to make sure Mom can be seen. Thank you so much for joining us. We love it that you're here. If you like this video, like it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Do you see the ring light in my eyes? If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. We love that you're here. Have a fantastic rest of your night, and we'll see you in the next video. Have a good night, guys.